Explosions and fires have ripped through an ammunition depot in Russia-annexed Crimea in the second suspected Ukrainian attack on the peninsula in just over a week. The blasts forced the evacuation of more than 3,000 people. Russia blames the explosions on an act of sabotage without naming the perpetrators. Ukraine stopped short of publicly claiming responsibility. Last week's explosions destroyed 9 Russian planes at another Crimean air base. Russia seized Crimea from Ukraine in 2014 and has used it to launch attacks against the country in the war that began nearly 6 months ago. If Ukrainian forces were, in fact, behind the explosions, they would represent a significant escalation in the war. U.S. President Joe Biden has signed Democrats' landmark climate change and health care bill. It's the final piece of the president's pared-down domestic agenda as he aims to boost his party's standing with voters ahead of midterm elections. AP correspondent Seth Bornstein reports that climate legislation enacted is the most significant ever passed by Congress.
The bill that President Biden has signed is the biggest one nation has done in one period in the entire time that I've been covering climate change. This is a huge event, especially for the United States. It still doesn't catch up with Europe, which has done more as a whole of multi-nations.
The Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General has refused congressional requests for documents and staff testimony about the erasure of Secret Service communication related to the January 6, 2021 attack at the Capitol. The Inspector General's refusal to comply, outlined in a newly disclosed August 8th letter, has angered top Democrats who've accused him of unlawfully obstructing their investigation. Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid said Wednesday his government will restore full diplomatic ties with Turkey following years of strained relations between the Mediterranean nations. The Prime Minister hailed the diplomatic breakthrough as an, quote, important asset for regional stability and very important economic news for the citizens of Israel, end quote. The announcement follows months of bilateral efforts to mend ties, which began to fray in 2008 following an Israeli military operation in Gaza. Syria denies U.S. accusations that it is holding journalist Austin Tice or other Americans. AP correspondent Julie Walker has more.
A California appeals court.
President Biden made the accusation last week in a statement released by the White House to mark the 10th anniversary of Tice's abduction. The journalist was in Syria covering its lengthy conflict and went missing at a checkpoint in a contested area west of Damascus. A video released a month later showed him blindfolded and held by armed men saying, "Oh Jesus." He has not been heard from since. Biden's remarks were the clearest indication so far that the U.S. is certain Tice is being held by the government of President Assad. I'm Julie Walker.
Opposition figure Raila Odinga said Tuesday that he would challenge the results of Kenya's close presidential election with, quote, all constitutional and legal options, end quote, after Deputy President William Ruto was declared the winner, bringing new uncertainty to East Africa's most stable democracy. A California church will not have to pay fines for defying safety regulations during the COVID-19 pandemic. AP correspondent Donna Warder reports.
A California appeals court says that Calvary Chapel San Jose was practicing its freedom of religion when holding large worship services during the pandemic. The church had been fined about $200,000. In reversing lower court rulings, California's 6th District Court of Appeal referred to last year's U.S. Supreme Court decision that ruled that size limits on indoor worship services violate religious freedom. San Jose County says it will continue to pursue some $2.3 million in penalties because the ruling does not cover COVID-19 rules violations such as mask wearing. I'm Donna Warder.
Nigerian electricity workers began an indefinite strike Wednesday over pay, throwing parts of Africa's most populous nation into darkness, a union leader said. The National Union of Electricity Employees called the nationwide industrial action to compel the government to honor a 2019 agreement to pay retired workers of a former state-owned electricity company.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.